first met through Christopher Blaisdell, right? I had gotten a grant from the New York Foundation for the Arts, or the National Endowment for the Arts, the NEA, in conjunction with the Bunkacho, and came to Japan to make a project for 1 year. And during that time, there was the artistic director, Christopher Blaisdell, had a holiday party, I believe, and we met at the party. And you were very open to engaging me about what I was working on creatively. I told you I had some photo projects in mind and that I would be interested in making a portrait of you, and you generously extended yourself and said we could meet again and that you would be open to being photographed. So first encounter was actually making a portrait of you. So we had the opportunity to make a portrait, and as we got to know each other better, and I understood that you and your mother and your daughter were living together, I was interested in 3 generations of women. So it was a great opportunity to understand 3 generations of Japanese women living together. So I had asked if it would be possible to maybe observe and photograph that interaction, and both you, your mother, and Callie, your daughter, all agreed. So I had the opportunity to spend time with the 3 of you. Quickly realized that your mother is a great artist, and that she did handicraft and also fine art through textile. Your mom gifted me and my partner these beautiful aprons, which we still use every day, as well as a tea caddy for our teapot. So I realized quite quickly that your mom had an incredible skill and talent that she was doing both for her family, but also for friends and people that she wanted to share that with. As someone who's very interested in the Bauhaus and also Minge craft in Japan, I understood too that your mother's art form has a traditional relationship not only to what was happening in Japan in the 20th century, but what's happening in Europe as well in the 20th century. Well, it is interesting to think back to the first time I met your mother, because now that we're discussing it, I remember that your mom doesn't speak English, but in my recollection, we were able to communicate very easily. So maybe this speaks something about your mother's openness, her engagement, her curiosity. I felt very welcome. I felt that she was sensitive to who I was, she was generous, she opened up her home. So it's interesting to think that we weren't sharing the same language, and yet communication was so easy. So I feel like we were able to communicate quite well. I also think that the apron that she gave me was the apron that was meant for me, so there was a sensitivity to understanding who the person that she was with was. So I think that really speaks to her character, someone who's curious, who's open, who's engaged, who also responds to other people who are creative. So I think there was maybe the shared interest in creativity and making. So yeah, it was very easy to engage with your mom. She was very welcoming. And in some ways, I think when someone offers you a gift of something that they made, that's maybe the most generous thing that they can offer you. So in some ways, that made me feel very comfortable too, because in some ways it said that she trusted me, that she felt that I would be a good carekeeper for this object that she had made. So I think that the generosity of giving her creative gift, and then also recognizing that I would care for it and utilize it, made me feel that she was open to who I was.
Yeah, I remember when we took a picture of you with the apron, and she looked so cheerful. And
but I think I felt so cheerful too. I think it was maybe a shared connection. I think that your mother understood inherently that communication is more than words, right? I think we often think that to communicate between 2 people, we need to rely on words or spoken language. But I think body language, eye contact, just being in each other's presence is a way that 2 people can connect. And with your mom, in some ways, maybe the connection was stronger because we didn't share the same native language. It actually made us both have to work a little harder to understand who each other were.
When I received the email from you, reply, I was really surprised that you wear them every day and you use the tea cozy every day.
Well, I think when you know someone made something with care and with intention and put their creative spirit into it, that those objects have a certain energy. So when I wear your mother's apron or I use your mother's tea caddy, that's much more special than if I were to wear an apron that I bought that was mass-produced. I mean, your mother's hand, her time, her energy, her craft, her history, all are inside the object that she made. And I do feel that very much that energy resides within the object. So if I wear the apron when I cook, it connects me to someone who put a lot of time, energy, love, compassion, and sensitivity into her craft. If everyday things can have special value, those are the most valuable things, because we use them every day.
Right. Beauty of everyday use.
Yeah, and I think that we need to put more value on everyday things giving us a positive experience, allowing us to experience beauty, giving us the opportunity to feel enlightened. I think objects that can have that power are, in the end, maybe more important than prized possessions that sit in a room that no one sees them, or sit in a museum and are only visited once in a while. But to have that experience every day, and to be reminded of that value every day, I think gives a lot of meaning to one's existence. Yeah, I think that there's a real... the other thing about the apron that I like is that it is, in a way, deceptively simple. At first glance, it seems quite simple, but it's so considered in the detail. It fits me perfectly, right? It's a pleasure to wear. I enjoy cooking more when I put it on. So there's so much about it that you don't see, but that you feel. And I think that that's also a real quality in something that's crafted with care and with love. I mean, you can't see care and love, but they're present in the work in a way. So it's the qualities not only that are the material and the choice, but also the aspects of your mother's craft that you can't see. You need to use the object to feel. And I think that that's really true in her work. You feel her energy, you feel her presence.
I remember HIdeyo well. I first met her, I'm not sure how many years ago. It's been a long, long time. It all happened originally because I met her son-in-law in New York, then ultimately her daughter Yoko in Tokyo, and at some point, and I've known both of them for many, many years, and then at some point, not all so long into the relationship, I was invited to stay in their home. And during those stays, I had occasion to meet HIdeyo from time to time because she was living downstairs. So it became a normal thing for me to pay my respects to her while I was visiting Tokyo. I always looked forward to that because she was really an admirable woman in many, many respects. I admired her for her simplicity, for her gentleness, for her authenticity, you could say. She was a very solid individual. I don't think there were many things that bothered her very much. She certainly was not looking for attention. She wasn't egotistical or anything of the sort. Just a very solid individual, and I admired that a lot. It's a quality that we need more of in this world, in fact. The most common way of meeting with her was to have breakfast in her kitchen with her, and with her granddaughter Kaori, or her daughter Nobuko, or both of them, and her cat. I couldn't forget to mention the cat. Actually, it was the cat for the whole family, but the cat got around and made sure to visit everybody, and didn't want to miss out on breakfast when we were all having breakfast down there. HIdeyo was somebody who read the newspapers a lot and who paid attention to what was going on in the world. She was definitely somebody who was interested in what was going on in the world, but not much bothered by it. And I think given her her history, having lived through so much history, she probably thought that what's going on in the world today didn't amount to very much. I can't say that I blame her. I feel that way sometimes myself. I was talking with HIdeyo. She came to the door. I asked her, "So how are you doing?" She looked at me and smiled and said, "Well, still breathing in and out," which was exactly how she was. She had humility. She was gentle. She was simple. She was certainly not shy, as far as I could ascertain. But she also wasn't one to seek attention either. I think that one of the great joys of visiting Tokyo, in fact, was to see her and to spend a little time with her. Typically, we would meet at breakfast in her kitchen, at her table there, and Kaori would come, or her daughter Nobuko would be there, or both of them. And we would talk about, well, whatever was going on in the world. But she was, by perception, quite an avid newspaper reader. She paid attention to what was going on in the world, but I don't think she allowed it to upset her very much. And I could understand how that might be, you know, given her very long life and all the things that she had seen in the course of the history that she lived through, what was going on in the world today, and all the brouhaha that goes along with it probably didn't amount to very much as far as she was concerned. And I can't say that I blame her one bit. She was quite talented, as anyone who comes to the exhibit will find. I never ceased to be amazed at the variety of designs that she produced. It seemed endless, and I became more acquainted in more recent years with some of her other work than what I had seen before. But as someone who, for example, produced an apron, I have an apron here oh, what did I do with it? Here it is, that she gave me some years ago, that is very simple, but it's at the same time quite elegant, and it's something that I enjoy very much having. There's a big pocket here, as you can see, and the material is not a denim blue by any means, sort of a gray, blue-gray with white, or even slightly, well, I guess mostly white polka dots. But it's beautiful and quite functional, quite versatile also in how it could be worn. I don't cook, so I admire it, but I don't wear it every day, unfortunately. Although if I had a purpose to wear it, I would certainly be happy to do so, because I know that she made these things to be used. They weren't her intention to put them on the shelf somewhere. Although a lot of her things, I think, are not as much used as she might have liked, simply because she made so many of them. And there are only so many friends in this world that one can give things to, and so many members of the family, but nevertheless she enjoyed producing artful, home-spun, home-usable things. I saw an exhibit in Tokyo a few years ago at a textile museum. It was an exhibit of indigo. And I'll never forget that, because the pieces that were shown there were amazing. They were elegant, they were also simple, and they were made by mothers, people at home, making things for their family out of scrap materials. And this is similar to the kind of thing, as I understood HIdeyo, that HIdeyo was doing. She was making for her family and for her friends items that could be used, but were elegant in their own right, simple in design perhaps. Actually, not as simple as you might look. I would say deceptively simple. Some of the potato prints, for example, are really extraordinary and subtle in their complexity. I admire them very, very much, and I never tire of seeing them. I would say that of all of the people that I have known in the world, and I have traveled around the world a lot. HIdeyo is one of the people that I most admired, and I certainly miss her now that she is gone. But she was an extraordinary woman, and I will always be grateful that I had an opportunity to know her, even given the limitations in which that was possible. I'm excited about this coming exhibition, the retrospective at Chihan, and I'm looking forward to being there, not only to see it, but maybe to participate in some other way with the production of it.
2つともね、手放さないで今まで持ってたの。道にね、かぶせるときにこうやってかぶしたり、こうやって火が強いときはこうやってかぶせるの。で、洋服に合わせてオレンジの方を出したり、いつも多分こっち側でかぶってたような気がするわ。素敵なのね。いろいろなシェードのブルーがあって、とても見てて飽きない。で、その上にしっかりできてるから、もう手触りもいいし、コトンだし、見てて飽きない。それからね、これはね、とても愛らしいデザインなんだけどね、その上に非常にプラクティカルで、娘たちにも、未知に持たしても、中にいっぱい何かが入るの。なんか飲み物も入れたんじゃないのかしら。小さなボトルだったら入るから。これを持って道が何度か出かけたの覚えてるわ。かわいいでしょ。あ、面白いわね。今気がついたのは自動車とお家が逆さまなの。あはは、面白い。それもコミカルでいいわね。下の方はまっすぐよ、うちが。色合いもいいし、可愛いし。いつものんこさんのお母様が作るのはポテトのこうスタンプみたいにして作ってるんだけど、これはそうじゃなくて普通の可愛い布切れを使ってちゃんと裏もついてるのね。
なんか多分子供のものをそのバッグもいくつかいろんなプリント地で作ったのを覚えてるけど、だけど何にも残ってなくて、おそらく陽子さんのところに残ってるのは唯一かも。
トレジャー。
香りが持ってたものも他にあるんだけど、それが残ってないと思うな。だからびっくりしました、これを見て。帽子と、他の人持ってないと思う、この2つ。
本当？そうね、お母様のポテトスタンプの絵が多かったもんね。そうそう。だから娘のマリもそう言ってた。
じゃあお嬢さん2人どちらも覚えてらっしゃるってこと？
すごい。道は覚えてるかどうか知らないわ。使った割には覚えてないかもしれない。マリの方はよく覚えてて、信子さんが来るのよ。こういうお母様のエキシビションして、私の持ってるものも探さなくちゃって言ってたら、マリが「ママはね、彼女が作るポテトのスタンプのものは持ってないけど、他のスタンプを使ってないもの 持ってるはずよって、私より記憶がいいんで、探した時にポテトのスタンプが出てこなくてがっかりしなくていいように心を言い聞かして探して見つかった時嬉しかったわ。すごいプロダクティブね、ピカソみたい。
とにかく作るのが好きだったので、
偶然ね、よく私も人にあげないでここまで持ってきたわ。
村尾さんはずっとシアトルに住んでらっしゃるから、でも母がシアトルに来た時は会ってない。
もしね、お会いしてたら、多分 U ディストリクトで会ってるはずなの。それこそ誰かの物語じゃないけど、クスノキは残ったじゃないけど、お母様が亡くなってからもちゃんと大事にここに残ってたのよ。
もうどのぐらい前でしょうか。
これいただいたの30、多分30年ぐらい前だった。すごい。すごい。
Your mother, in my memory, when I was Nichibei, Kokansei. It was part of the exchange artist program, which was part of administered by National Endowment for the Arts and the Japanese Ministry of Culture through iHouse in Tokyo. And there were so many things I wanted to do when I was there for a few months, but one thing I really liked the poems of Santoka, a monk and a poet, very well known in Japan. My friend Murao Hisashi and his friend James Green translated the poems into English, and I read the poems, and I really was quite moved by the poetry. So one of the places that Santoka lived and traveled around was in Yamaguchi Prefecture. And so when I was going to Yamaguchi, you introduced me to your parents' place, and we visited with them. And I guess my clearest memory was they drove us around to the temples around Yamaguchi where Santoka visited and wrote poems. And I just remember your folks as a very cute couple. When we went to a temple, they were almost like kids looking at the different plants and flowers in front of the temple, and they took some seedlings from it to try to grow at home. And so they took us to 2 or 3 places where Santoka had lived and worked and wrote his poetry. So it was nice to get to know them. I don't think at that time I saw your mother's textile work yet.
but I do remember the show you put together for your mother and inside Tokyo. What area? What neighborhood is that? Where you had the exhibition?
Oh, Jiyugaoka.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was almost like a kind of more modern version of Mingei.
Mm-hmm.
It really was like a folk art, and she came up with some very interesting designs, and I was surprised at how she could print on almost anything, whether it was textile and different uses, but there was such a variety of designs and patterns and colors in her work that was really nice to see.
How did you receive her work? Do you remember the occasion? The table center and also a little purse or something?
You know, I think we got them as gifts from you when we visited you in Tokyo.
Oh, I see. Not in Yokohama.
Let's see, my memory is, I've seen you several times, so yes, I guess probably in Yokohama too, because you had that other house, right? Closer to school where Judy was teaching. Was that Meiji Gakuen? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I probably got, that was a while ago, so I probably got it at the Yokohama house, not at your latest residence.
So it's a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Before we moved up to
Yes.
live in Tokyo. So you met her in Seattle, remember?
That's what I'm trying to remember, but my memory is like a sieve. There are many holes. So
Me too.
I think I can't say without a doubt that I met her in Seattle, but I do remember meeting her, of course, in her hometown, and later in Tokyo.
So, but it's amazing that you still have two of her works.
Oh well, they're like heirloom, you know. They're precious objects. We would not have them. We keep them. But they're kind of so nice. We're afraid to use them.
Oh, so you didn't use them?
No.
Oh.
We just kind of. I think we thought of somewhere it would be nice to take out a little small cloth and put on a desk or table. But we live in a small studio apartment. We still live like students after all these years. We haven't moved up, so there's not much room in our studio apartment to put.
One is
Yes, this is a wonderful small tablecloth. At least that's how I would use it. I don't know. I guess you could use it for anything.
Wow, I had never seen this before, as a matter of fact. So I'm pretty sure that she just gave this to you while you visited either Yamaguchi or Yokohama.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's a name in there, which is quite unusual.
Oh, she doesn't
Okay.
usually put her.
No,
Huh.
it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't remember when I received it or where I received it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And there is another piece,
Yes.
which is like a little wallet or
Yeah.
something. We can show it too. Wow.
I think maybe this was meant maybe for Kazuko to use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like a little treasure.
How nice of you. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And we do have one more item. It's an apron
Mm-hmm.
she made, but Kazuko has it in the house in Kyoto.
I see.
So you'll have to come to Kyoto to film that one.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.